Emergency stop. Stop the ride. Stop the ride now. Logan Shaw's voice exploded through the maintenance radio at 2:47 p.m., cutting through the cheerful chaos of Magic Kingdom like a knife. For a split second, the control room froze. The jovial background music continued playing. The excited screams from Space Mountain kept coming, but this scream was different. This was pure, primal terror. Senior ride operator Jessica Martinez fumbled for the emergency controls, her hands suddenly slick with sweat. "Logan, what's your position?" "Logan." But the radio crackled with only static and a sound that would haunt her forever, the metallic grinding of machinery mixed with something far worse. In the Space Mountain control booth, monitors showed the ride operating normally, green lights across the board, trains moving at optimal speed, guest satisfaction ratings holding steady. But somewhere in that maze of steel and darkness, Logan Shaw was fighting for his life against two 800 pounds of unstoppable momentum. Hit the E-stop! Hit the E-stop! Another maintenance worker, David Chen, burst into the control room, his face white with horror. But even as Martinez slammed her palm on the emergency button, everyone knew the truth. Space Mountain's massive trains don't stop instantly. Physics doesn't care about desperation. July 18, Walt Disney World. Logan Shaw, veteran maintenance technician. 15 years keeping the magic alive, beloved by colleagues, trusted by management, the man who could fix anything. But behind the cheerful facade of the happiest place on earth was a culture that demanded perfection at any cost. In 47 seconds, a routine repair would become a nightmare. A father of 3 would never come home. And the dark truth about theme park maintenance would be exposed in the most horrific way imaginable. You're watching When Attractions Attack. If this story grips you, subscribe, like, and share, because what you're about to witness will change how you see theme parks forever. Logan Shaw wasn't supposed to be a Disney mechanic. The 38-year-old father of 3 had started as an aerospace engineer, designing safety systems for commercial aircraft. But after his daughter's first trip to Magic Kingdom, something changed. Watching her face light up on Space Mountain, Logan found his calling. He wanted to be part of creating that magic. Logan didn't just fix rides, recalled Maria Rodriguez, a fellow maintenance supervisor. He understood them. He could hear a slightly off-pitch sound in a motor and diagnose the problem from 50 feet away. He had this supernatural ability to know what was wrong. For 15 years, Logan built a reputation as Disney's most talented troubleshooter. When other technicians gave up, Logan found solutions. When rides broke down during peak hours, Logan got them running. Management loved him, colleagues respected him, but some also feared for him. The problem wasn't Logan's skillet, was his dedication. Disney's unofficial motto among maintenance staff was minimal downtime, maximum uptime. Every minute a ride sat idle cost thousands in lost revenue and disappointed guests. Logan internalized this pressure more than anyone. He took it personally when a ride went down, explained David Chen, who worked alongside Logan for 8 years. He'd see the disappointed kids' faces, and just. He couldn't stand it. He'd do whatever it took to get things running again. Whatever it took. Those 3 words would prove fatal. Logan's personnel file, later released during the investigation, revealed a pattern of exemplary service mixed with concerning incidents. 14 commendations for preventing ride closures. 6 verbal warnings for bypassing standard safety protocols. 3 written warnings for entering restricted areas without proper lockout tag-out procedures. But Disney needed Logan. During peak season, with crowds exceeding 50, 0 daily, ride reliability was paramount. Logan's ability to diagnose and fix problems in minutes rather than hours made him invaluable. Management consistently overlooked his shortcuts because the results spoke for themselves. The culture was toxic, admitted a former Disney maintenance supervisor who requested anonymity. We were told safety was priority one, but actions said otherwise. Bonuses were tied to uptime. Promotions went to those who kept rides running. Logan was just playing the game. Everyone else was playing. He was just better at it. Logan's specialty became hot fixes repairs, performed while rides operated at reduced capacity or during brief pauses between ride cycles. It was dangerous, explicitly against OSHA regulations, but it kept the magic flowing. He'd developed techniques for accessing certain mechanical areas while rides ran, timing his movements between passing vehicles. His colleagues called him the Ghost because of his ability to slip in and out of restricted areas undetected. Security footage would later show Logan performing these unauthorized repairs dozens of times, always successful, always pushing boundaries further. By summer 2023, Logan's risk-taking had escalated. The post-pandemic crowds had returned with vengeance. Mechanical systems, stressed by deferred maintenance during closures, were failing more frequently. Pressure to keep attractions operational reached fever pitch. He wasn't sleeping, Logan's wife Sarah later testified. He'd come home talking about timing windows and mechanical patterns. He was obsessed with finding faster ways to fix things. I begged him to slow down, follow the rules. He said he couldn't let the kids down. 2 weeks before his death, Logan had performed his most audacious repair yet. Space Mountain's track sensor system had malfunctioned, threatening a full shutdown during 4th of July weekend. Rather than evacuate the ride and lose 6 hours to repairs, Logan accessed the track during a 5-minute operational pause, fixing the sensor while trains sat loaded at the station. Management praised his ingenuity. They even submitted him for a performance bonus. No one filed a safety violation report. The message was clear: results matter more than methods. On July 18, Logan arrived at work at 6 a.m., 3 hours before park opening. Space Mountain was experiencing intermittent sensor failures, the same issue from 2 weeks prior. The temporary fix hadn't held. This time, the problem was deeper in the track system, in a section that couldn't be accessed during loading pauses. I told him to wait, Chen remembered. File for a full shutdown. Do it right, but he kept saying we couldn't disappoint the families. There were thousands of people with FastPass reservations. He said he'd figured out a safe window. Logan spent the morning studying ride patterns, timing intervals between trains, calculating exactly how long he'd have to access the malfunctioning sensor. He was confident. He'd done similar repairs dozens of times. He knew every inch of Space Mountain's layout. What he didn't know was that the sensor malfunction was affecting more than just error reports. It was causing subtle timing variations in the ride's block zone system, the safety mechanism that keeps trains properly spaced. At 2:43 p.m., Logan Shaw entered Space Mountain's restricted track area for the last time, confident he had 90 seconds before the next train. He had 47. Space Mountain isn't just a roller coaster, it's an engineering marvel wrapped in complete darkness. Opened in 1975, the iconic attraction hurls riders through 196 feet of track at speeds reaching 28 miles per hour. But what makes it truly terrifying for maintenance crews isn't the speed, it's the blindness. Working inside Space Mountain is like being in a three-dimensional puzzle where touching the wrong piece kills you, explained Robert Hayes, a former Disney Imagineer who helped design the ride's safety systems. It's not meant to be accessed while operational, period. The attraction operates on a block zone system, the track divided into sections where only one train can exist at a time. Sensors at each zone communicate with the main computer, maintaining safe distances between vehicles. When functioning properly, it's foolproof. When sensors fail, the margin for error vanishes. Disney's maintenance protocols for Space Mountain were extensive on paper. Full lockout, tagout procedures required complete ride shutdown, systematic verification of all trains' positions, and physical locks preventing system restart. The process took minimum 2 hours. During peak season, that meant turning away thousands of guests. Internal documents revealed a parallel set of emergency protocols, unofficial procedures for addressing minor issues without full shutdown. These weren't written anywhere, passed down verbally from veteran technicians to newcomers. Logan had mastered them all. The specific sensor causing problems on July 18 was Block Zone 7B, located in the ride's steepest descent section. Here, trains reached maximum velocity while navigating a sharp left turn in complete darkness. The sensor's purpose was critical detecting train position to prevent collisions. That sensor was a known problem, admitted a Disney maintenance worker who requested anonymity. The mounting bracket would work loose from vibrations. We'd reported it for permanent fix multiple times. Always got told to just keep tightening it. Space Mountain's age compounded every risk. Nearly 50 years of continuous operation had created countless mechanical quirks. Veterans like Logan knew them all: which motors ran hot, which sections accumulated more wear, which sensors gave false readings. This institutional knowledge became both asset and curse. The ride's enclosed structure added another lethal element. Unlike outdoor coasters, where maintenance crews could see approaching trains, Space Mountain's darkness was absolute. Workers relied entirely on audio cues and memorized timing patterns. One miscalculation meant death. Disney's official accident reports, obtained through Freedom of Information requests, revealed disturbing patterns. Between 2015 and 2023, Space Mountain experienced 47 near-miss incidents involving maintenance staff. Each was classified as human error rather than systemic failure. No comprehensive safety review followed. The reports were sanitized, claimed Dr. James Patterson, a theme park safety expert who reviewed the documents. They blamed individual workers rather than examining why workers felt compelled to take such risks. It's classic organizational failure fixing blame instead of fixing problems. The sensor system Logan attempted to repair had a particularly troublesome history. Installed during a 2009 refurbishment, the Block Zone 7B sensor suffered from a design flaw. Intense vibrations from passing trains gradually loosened its mounting hardware. The permanent fix required track modification, expensive and time-consuming. Instead, maintenance crews performed monthly adjustments, tightening bolts that inevitably worked loose again. It was mechanical whack-a-mole, addressing symptoms while ignoring the disease. Logan had personally serviced this sensor 17 times in the past year alone. Making matters worse, Space Mountain's original safety systems had been modified over decades. New technologies layered atop old infrastructure created compatibility issues. Modern sensors communicated with computers running legacy software. Integration gaps created failure points. It's like putting a smartphone app on a 1970s calculator, Hayes explained. Sometimes it works perfectly. Sometimes the old system can't process new data fast enough. Those millisecond delays compound into dangerous situations. The ride's control room, where Jessica Martinez worked, displayed system status through a mix of vintage analog gauges and modern digital screens. Operators relied on experience to interpret conflicting signals. The Block Zone 7B sensor had been showing intermittent warnings for 3 days, not unusual enough to mandate shutdown. On July 18, the sensor's degradation reached critical stage. It wasn't just reporting false positives anymore. It was sending delayed signals, causing the block system to miscalculate train positions by precious seconds. The main computer compensated by slightly altering dispatch timing changes, too subtle for operators to notice, but catastrophic for someone timing maintenance windows. Logan's fatal mistake was assuming the ride's timing remained consistent. His calculations, based on thousands of previous observations, didn't account for the system's dynamic adjustments. He entered the track area believing he had 90 seconds of safety. The computer had already dispatched the next train 43 seconds early. The Walt Disney Company built an empire on one principle: the show must go on. This philosophy, inspirational in entertainment, became deadly in maintenance. Behind the perfectly manicured facades and perpetual smiles lay a culture where operational demands consistently trumped safety concerns. Disney doesn't have accidents, a former park executive revealed on condition of anonymity. They have incidents, situations, or temporary adjustments. Language matters when you're protecting a brand worth billions. Financial pressure at Disney World had intensified dramatically post-2020. Park closures during the pandemic created massive revenue shortfalls. When gates reopened, the company faced staggering debt and shareholder demands for rapid recovery. Every operational minute counted. Internal emails obtained during investigation revealed disturbing priorities. A June 2023 message from park operations to maintenance supervisors read, "Summer season represents 40% of annual revenue. Each attraction hour lost equals approximately 75,000 in direct and indirect costs. Please ensure all teams understand the critical nature of maintaining operational excellence." Translation: keep rides running at all costs. The pressure cascaded downward through management layers, intensifying at each level. Park directors pressed area managers. Area managers pressured ride supervisors. Supervisors leaned on maintenance crews. By the time directives reached workers like Logan, operational excellence meant one thing: minimize downtime by any means necessary. "We called it the Disney squeeze," explained a former maintenance supervisor. "From above, they'd squeeze you about uptime. From below, union rules said follow safety protocols. We were crushed in the middle, so we got creative." Creativity meant developing workarounds. Official procedures took hours. Unofficial methods took minutes. Management never explicitly endorsed these shortcuts, but rewarded those who used them. Logan's personnel file contained 18 commendations for exceptional dedication to guest satisfaction, corporate speak for keeping rides operational. The Magic Kingdom's maintenance budget had been slashed 23% since 2019, while attendance rebounded to record levels. Fewer technicians serviced more equipment under greater pressure. Overtime became mandatory. Exhaustion became normal. Mistakes became inevitable. Disney's safety training emphasized theoretical compliance, while daily operations demanded practical compromise. New employees received 40 hours of safety instruction, then watched veterans bypass every rule to meet production demands. The cognitive dissonance was overwhelming. They'd show us these videos about lockout, tag-out procedures, recalled a recent hire. Then my trainer would say, "That's for the lawyers. Here's how we really do it. You either adapted or found another job." Maintenance staff meetings revealed the toxic dynamic. Supervisors would spend 5 minutes on safety reminders, then 30 minutes analyzing downtime statistics. Charts showed which teams kept rides running longest. Public praise went to those with best uptime numbers, regardless of methods used. The Space Mountain maintenance team faced particular scrutiny. As one of Magic Kingdom's 3 mountain attractions, it drew massive crowds and generated substantial revenue through Lightning Lane sales. A single closure could trigger thousands of guest complaints and refund demands. Space Mountain was untouchable, explained a park operations manager. If Pirates went down, we'd redirect people. If Space Mountain went down, we'd have riots. The pressure to keep it running was astronomical. This pressure manifested in compromised safety systems. Lockout, tag-out procedures, designed to ensure equipment couldn't activate during maintenance, were routinely bypassed. Warning alarms were muted to prevent unnecessary shutdowns. Safety sensors were adjusted to more forgiving parameters. Documentation revealed systematic normalization of deviance. Incident reports from 2000 and 2023 showed increasing numbers of safety protocol violations, each justified by operational necessity. Rather than addressing root causes, management implemented refresher training, essentially telling workers to be more careful while maintaining the same dangerous practices. The financial incentive structure reinforced reckless behavior. Maintenance supervisors' bonuses directly correlated with attraction uptime. A single percentage point improvement in operational efficiency could mean thousands in additional compensation. Safety metrics, conversely, weren't tied to pay. They said safety was priority 1, a veteran technician observed bitterly. But they paid us for priority 2. Workers who raised concerns faced subtle retaliation. They'd find themselves assigned to less desirable shifts, passed over for promotions, or labelled as not team players. The message was clear: embrace the culture or leave. Logan Shaw had thoroughly embraced it. His ability to keep attractions running made him management's favourite. He received premium assignments, maximum bonuses, and public recognition. He'd become so valuable that supervisors actively discouraged him from following time-consuming safety procedures. "We joke that Logan had diplomatic immunity," Chen recalled. "Rules didn't apply to him because he got results. Management would look the other way when he'd slip into restricted areas. They needed him too much to stop him. On July 18, that need would prove fatal." The Block Zone 7B sensor had been flagged for replacement 3 months earlier. The work order was repeatedly postponed. Summer season was too busy for extended downtime. Instead, technicians like Logan performed increasingly frequent temporary fixes. The final maintenance log entry before Logan's death noted, "BZ7B showing intermittent faults, temporary adjustment performed. Recommend full replacement at earliest convenience." Earliest convenience never came. When investigators later questioned park leadership about safety culture, responses were uniformly evasive. Executives cited extensive training programs and written policies while ignoring daily operational realities. They produced impressive safety statistics while omitting near-miss incidents. The truth was simpler and darker. Disney had created a system where following safety protocols meant failure, and failure meant termination. Workers like Logan weren't reckless by nature. They were molded by an organization that demanded the impossible and punished anything less. At 2:43 p.m. on July 18, Logan Shaw made his final radio call to the Space Mountain control room. "Control, this is Logan. I'm entering track section 7B for sensor adjustment. Standard 90-second window. Confirm block clear." Jessica Martinez checked her monitors. All trains showed in proper positions. The computer indicated normal spacing. "Confirmed, Logan. Block 7B is clear. You have 90 seconds from mark." Logan clicked his radio twice standard acknowledgement and entered the mechanical access door. Security cameras captured him moving confidently, tools in hand, hard hat light cutting through the darkness. He'd performed this exact procedure 17 times before. Muscle memory guided him through the narrow maintenance corridor toward the track. Inside Space Mountain, the cacophony was overwhelming. Screaming riders, grinding wheels on rails, mechanical systems, humming all, amplified by the enclosed structure. Logan's trained ear filtered the chaos, listening for the specific sound that mattered: approaching trains. He reached the Block Zone 7B sensor at 2:44:23 p.m. The mounting bracket was worse than expected, not just loose, but cracked. A proper repair would take 5 minutes minimum. Logan had less than 70 seconds remaining in his safety window. "Should have waited," he muttered, beginning work anyway. His hands moved with practiced efficiency, removing bolts, applying industrial adhesive to the crack, repositioning the sensor. He'd done this so many times, he could work by feel alone. At 2:2 p.m., the Space Mountain dispatch computer made a fateful decision. The degraded Block Zone 7B sensor had sent another delayed signal. The system interpreted this as a larger gap between trains than actually existed. To maintain optimal spacing, it released Train 4 from the loading station 43 seconds ahead of schedule. In the control room, Jessica Martinez noticed nothing unusual. The dispatch appeared normal on her screens. The computer's adjustment was within acceptable parameters. No alerts triggered. No warnings sounded. Logan, focused on his repair, didn't immediately recognize the danger. The sound of Train 4 launching blended with the general mechanical chaos. His internal timing honed over thousands of maintenance windows told him he had another 30 seconds of safety. At 2:45:31 p.m., Logan's experienced ear caught something wrong. The familiar rhythm of Space Mountain's operation had changed. The approaching train sound came too soon, from the wrong direction. His head snapped up, hard hat light sweeping the darkness. Train 4 appeared around the banked curve. 800 pounds of steel and fiberglass carrying 40 screaming passengers at 27 miles per hour. Logan had less than 3 seconds to react. "Emergency stop! Stop the ride! Stop the ride now!" His scream into the radio carried pure terror as he dove toward the maintenance Alcavia, small recessed area designed for emergency evacuation. But Logan's tools had scattered across the track during his repair attempt. His safety tether, attached to prevent falls, tangled in the sensor mounting. The alcove was 3 feet away. The train was 1 second away. Jessica Martinez slammed the emergency stop, but Space Mountain's physics were immutable. Trains required nearly 200 feet to stop from full speed. Train 4 had less than 20 feet before impact. Logan's final decision revealed his character. Tangled in his safety line with nowhere to go, he could have remained on the track's inside curve, possibly surviving with severe injuries while the train potentially derailed, endangering 40 passengers. Instead, he threw himself outward, away from the passenger vehicle's path. The train's front car struck Logan at 2:45:34 p.m. The impact was catastrophic. His body was thrown against the tunnel wall with tremendous force before being pulled under the rear wheels. The passengers, initially unaware of the horror beneath them, continued screaming with assumed excitement. David Chen, monitoring radio channels from another section, heard the entire sequence. The worst part was the silence after, he later testified. Logan's radio just stopped. Then you heard Jessica screaming for medical, screaming for full stop, screaming for help. The ride's emergency systems finally engaged, bringing all trains to a halt by 2:46:15 p.m. 41 seconds had elapsed since Logan entered the danger zone believing he had 90. Emergency lighting flooded the usually dark interior, revealing a scene of unimaginable horror. Passengers in Train 4 realized something was terribly wrong as ride operators rushed past with medical equipment. Parents covered children's eyes. Teenagers filmed with phones despite staff pleas to stop. The magic of Disney World evaporated in an instant. First responders reached Logan at 2:48 p.m. The veteran paramedic, who first assessed the scene later, required counseling. In 20 years, I'd never seen industrial trauma that severe, he stated. There was nothing we could do, nothing anyone could have done. Logan Shaw was pronounced dead at 2:52 p.m., never having regained consciousness. The official cause of death was listed as massive trauma inconsistent with life. The clinical language sanitized the brutal reality of what happens when human flesh meets unstoppable machinery. The immediate aftermath was chaos. 4,000 guests required evacuation from Space Mountain. 40 witnesses on Train 4 needed psychological support. Staff members who'd worked alongside Logan for years stood in shocked silence as investigators cordoned off the scene. Disney's crisis management machinery activated within minutes. Public relations teams crafted carefully worded statements. Legal departments prepared for inevitable lawsuits. Park operations scrambled to redirect thousands of disappointed guests, while maintaining the illusion of normalcy elsewhere. But in the maintenance tunnels beneath Magic Kingdom, Logan's colleagues gathered in stunned grief. They knew the truth that investigations would later confirm: this wasn't an accident. It was an inevitable consequence of systematic failures that prioritized profit over people. The Block Zone 7B sensor, Logan's final repair target, was found exactly as he'd left it partially fixed. Tools scattered, his blood staining the components. Investigators noted that had he been given 5 more minutes for proper shutdown procedures, the repair would have been routine. Those 5 minutes would have cost Disney approximately $6,250 in lost revenue. Logan Shaw's life was valued at less than the price of keeping 40 riders entertained for another cycle. Security footage revealed the final cruel irony. At 2:45:33 p.m., 1 second before impact, Logan had successfully freed himself from the tangled safety line. He was diving toward the alcove, inches from safety, when physics and corporate negligence caught up with him. His last recorded words, "Stop the ride now," echoed through the attraction for hours afterward as investigators worked. Some employees swore they could still hear them weeks later, a ghostly reminder of the price paid for keeping the magic alive. The death of Logan Shaw sent shockwaves through the theme park industry. Within 72 hours, leaked footage from security cameras appeared online, showing Logan's final moments in grainy black and white. Disney's attorneys fought to suppress the video, but the internet never forgets. Millions watched a dedicated father die for the sake of keeping a ride operational. The investigation that followed revealed decades of systemic failures. OSHA inspectors found 47 serious safety violations at Space Mountain alone. Internal documents showed management knew about dangerous maintenance practices but chose profits over protection. The Block Zone 7B sensor that killed Logan had been flagged for critical replacement 127 times over 3 years. Disney initially attempted damage control, releasing statements about their commitment to safety and tragic accident. But witness testimonies, leaked emails, and maintenance logs painted a different picture. This wasn't an accident, it was an execution performed by corporate greed. Logan's widow, Sarah Shaw, became an unlikely activist. Armed with her husband's detailed journals documenting years of safety concerns, she testified before Congress about theme park worker protections. Logan didn't die because he was reckless, she told lawmakers through tears. He died because Disney made following safety rules incompatible with keeping his job. The lawsuit that followed revealed Disney's true priorities. Internal communications showed executives calculating exactly how many safety shortcuts could be taken before risking significant liability. Human lives were literally reduced to spreadsheet calculations, acceptable losses in the pursuit of maximum profits. 6 months after Logan's death, Space Mountain remained closed. Engineers discovered the mechanical problems ran deeper than anyone imagined. Decades of deferred maintenance had created a death trap masquerading as family entertainment. The cost to properly repair the attraction exceeded $50 million money Disney had saved by ignoring problems for years. Other theme parks took notice. Universal Studios, Six Flags, and Cedar Fair implemented comprehensive safety reviews. Maintenance workers industry-wide reported feeling empowered to speak up about dangerous conditions. Logan's death had started a revolution in attraction safety. But change came too late for the Shaw family. Logan's 3 children grew up without their father. His youngest daughter, who'd inspired his Disney career, refused to ever visit a theme park again. The magic died with Logan on that dark section of track. Today, a small plaque exists in the maintenance tunnels beneath Magic Kingdom, placed there illegally by Logan's colleagues. It reads, "Logan Shaw. He kept the magic running until it killed him. Never forget the cost." Disney continues operating, generating billions, while fighting to limit compensation to Logan's family. New maintenance workers receive enhanced safety training, though veterans report the same pressures persist. The show, as always, must go on. If this story moved you, consider the hidden costs of entertainment. Behind every magical moment are workers risking their lives to maintain the illusion. Logan Shaw was one of thousands who enter dangerous situations daily so families can create memories. Share this story. Demand better. The next time you enjoy a theme park attraction, remember those who keep it running. They deserve more than applause. They deserve to come home alive. Like and subscribe for more investigations into the dark truths behind entertainment's brightest facades. Comment below with your thoughts on theme park safety. Should attractions close for proper maintenance, even if it disappoints guests? Logan Shaw can't answer anymore, but his story demands we ask the question. The magic doesn't have to die with those who create it. We just have to decide their lives matter more than our entertainment. Rest in peace, Logan Shaw. May your sacrifice not be in vain.